I don't even know if I can talk about this. I'm mad. You should be mad. Congress, responding to the concerns over the economic impact of the coronavirus infection in the United States, developed a bill which was intended to protect the American economy, which we would think was meant, presumably, to protect the American people and to keep businesses from going out of business and keeping supply chains intact. How could the motive have been anything else? But what it comes down to is that a very small portion of the bailout bill that got passed has to do with helping businesses that are going to go out of business and people that are not able to go to work, presumably because their businesses aren't open and there's no work to go to. And even if they are open, there's no customers, so employers can't afford to pay them, so they send them home. Now, this bailout bill also ignores the fact that if these people are actually laid off or fired and they lose their health insurance, which they get from their employment, which is no longer available, and it's not like you can just go to the next job under these circumstances. So this bailout bill appears to overlook the healthcare needs of the people that just lost their jobs during a pandemic.
Just let that sink in for a minute.
These are the big brains in Washington. But they do have something for the people. They have the $1,200 one-time payment. I believe there's more if you have kids. It may have changed again. I don't know. It's changed so many times I can't keep track of it. But even with that, even at minimum wage, maybe even at part-time, this $1,200 is supposed to last 4 months. It's just completely unrealistic. Maybe we'll stave off the rioting and looting just a little bit longer with that $1,200. And there were some Congress people who were arguing that the extra $400 that people would get in their unemployment insurance was too much, because once the opportunity to return to work became available again, that $400 would incentivize them to stay unemployed rather than to return to work. That's what they chose to complain about. But here's the real problem. So while this bill does offer some help for the average American who didn't make too much money in 2018, but did make some money, because we can't help people who didn't have an income in 2018. That just wouldn't be right. Even though there is a pittance of help there, better than nothing, absolutely. The majority of the bailout bill helps business. That sounds great, right? All these small businesses everywhere, they're going to have money. They're going to be able to stay in business. No. That's not how this is going to work. For small and medium businesses, what's going to happen is more money is going to be available through the Small Business Association, I believe it's called. I don't even remember. But there is less money for them, and it's harder for them to get, and the conditions are more stringent than for big corporations. The vast majority of this bill, when they're talking about the trillions, is for loans that will be made available to large corporations at 0 or near 0% interest. And what accountability will they have? I'm not even sure they have to pay those loans back. What would happen? The same companies that were so worried about them going out of business that we have to protect them with bailouts, what would happen if they didn't pay their loans? I'm guessing nothing. And is there any kind of means testing for these corporations? No. They just have to apply. Is there any limitation on how they can use the money? No, they can use it any way they want. They can increase corporate bonuses, CEO salaries, upper management salaries, really. They can pay stockholders. They can buy back their own stock. They can acquire other companies. In short, the distressed medium and small businesses that are going to be inadequately served by this bailout will be prime targets for predation by larger corporations that have this extra money, our money, so they can absorb smaller businesses and consolidate. But there's no means testing, and there's no real accountability. The only way this money should be made available to these large corporations is by surrendering equity to the federal government. Collateral, if you will. That would be responsible. I mean, the government doesn't want to run these companies, even the current government. And by putting this condition or stipulation on these loans, that would actually serve as a means testing. Because what company is going to give up equity and control in its own company if it doesn't have to? So if they're not willing to give up equity and control in their own companies, that is a clear sign that they do not need help. They're just vultures, pigs really, eating at the trough that Congress has laid out for them, using our money to feed these companies that don't even need the money. Congress has acted not only irresponsibly, but corruptly. They are complicit in large corporations stealing our money. I guess it's not stealing if it's legal, but in no way is it morally right. I have a couple of videos linked below from the Hill, from before the bill was signed. If you're at all interested in this, you should check them out. I'm disgusted by this. And of course, there are going to be Congress people who felt like they didn't have a choice, because this all started as a stimulus package for the people that can't go to work, the people that are going to be out of money. And even though those people are not going to really get enough to survive on, they're going to get something. So how can a congressperson who has a shred of moral character, who knows that their people and Americans across the country are going to be suffering without that money, or I should say perhaps suffering more greatly, so how can they stand in the way of Americans getting the money that they need when they need it? Even if it means fattening up the pigs on Wall Street. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-capitalism, I'm not anti-profit, but these companies have been making profits for years, buying back their own stock to inflate their value, acting irresponsibly, producing nothing but perhaps contributing to people's retirement plans. And now when it hits the fan, they're the ones that are actually profiting from this. Low interest, zero interest loans that can be used for anything, perhaps might not even need to be paid back. Wall Street should wish for a pandemic every year. So then the question we might need to ask is, are our Congress people morons? Or are they corrupt? Are they deliberately part of the problem? This is what you need to pay attention to now. The people in Congress are there because we vote for them. It's not about party anymore. It's about who can you trust. And the senators that advocated for bailing out Wall Street when Wall Street didn't need to be bailed out, all they're doing is protecting profits, upper management salaries, and shareholder value. And apparently that's more important than the American people. These Congress people need to be identified and removed at the next possible opportunity. I don't care if you have to vote for a goat to get them out of office. They have to go. We need to stop being battered wives and hold Congress accountable. I don't know why I'm telling you. You're not going to change your behavior, are you? Are you going to spend any time looking into this, see who sold America out to Wall Street? Who sold the people that make this country work out to Wall Street? You're probably just going to wait for election day and think, well, I can't vote for the other party, so I got to vote for whoever's running on my party. In other words, you're going to reinforce a consequence-free environment for Congress people. Is that what you're going to do? God, I hope I don't do that. I may end up being a hypocrite myself. It's for so long. I mean, how long has it really been? When was the last time you voted and you felt like you weren't voting for the lesser of two evils? The whole system is broken. The economy is broken. The political system is broken. And now, they're taunting us. Practically inviting revolution. Don't get your pitchforks out yet, but how much more do they expect us to take? They have to go. They have to know there are consequences for this kind of corruption, for this kind of anti-American prioritization of corporate profits over American people. I'm T-Ray. This has been Third Rail.